If you are over 65, there may be something happening inside your body that you cannot see or feel, but it could be quietly affecting your heart, your energy levels, even your memory and sleep. I am talking about visceral fat, the kind of fat that wraps around your internal organs and hides deep in your belly. Unlike the fat you can pinch under your skin, visceral fat does not always show on the outside. Yet, research from Harvard Medical School has shown that this hidden fat can release over 400 harmful substances into your bloodstream every single day. It is not just about weight or waistlines. This is about what happens inside your body and how it changes as we get older. And here is the part most people do not know. After the age of 60, our bodies become more sensitive to certain biological signals, meaning we actually have a better chance of reducing visceral fat if we use the right methods. Let me tell you about Robert. He is 68, a retired school principal from Ohio. He never really gained weight, but his belly slowly grew over the years. He felt more tired, his blood pressure crept up, and he started to wonder what was changing. His doctor told him it was age, but Robert wanted more than just a number on a chart. He wanted to understand what was really happening, and what he discovered changed his life in just a few weeks. Today, I am going to share with you 5 natural and science-backed strategies that help reduce visceral fat without extreme diets or exhausting workouts. These are not miracle tricks or trendy supplements. These are practical approaches grounded in solid medical research from places like the Mayo Clinic, the National Institutes of Health, and leading universities across the country. We will go step by step through each method, explaining why it works, how it affects your body after 65, and most importantly, how you can apply it in your own life, starting today. If you have been struggling with stubborn belly fat, or feeling like your body just is not responding like it used to, stay with me. There is hope. Your body still has the power to change even now, and these 5 strategies can help you do exactly that. After age 65, your relationship with food, especially protein, changes in ways many people do not realize. One of the biggest shifts is how your body processes protein. Research from the Mayo Clinic and the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition has shown that older adults need more protein per meal, not just per day, to properly maintain muscle mass and metabolic health. While a younger adult may thrive on 20 grams of protein here and there, people over 65 need closer to 25 to 30 grams at each meal to trigger something called muscle protein synthesis. That is the body's natural process of repairing and building muscle, and it is directly linked to how efficiently you burn calories, even while at rest. Now, here is where it gets interesting. Muscle tissue burns about 50 calories a day per pound just by existing, while fat tissue burns only about 2. That means the more muscle you can preserve, the better your body becomes at using energy and reducing harmful visceral fat. And the key is not just getting more protein overall, but spreading it evenly throughout the day. Many people make the mistake of having very little protein at breakfast, like toast or cereal, then a light lunch, and finally trying to catch up with a heavy protein dinner. But studies have shown this pattern actually reduces how well your body can use that protein, and may even encourage fat storage around the belly. Let me give you a real example. George is 70 years old and lives with his wife in Arizona. For years, he started his day with a slice of toast and some coffee. By mid-morning, he felt sluggish. After learning about this protein timing strategy, he switched to having 2 eggs and a Greek yogurt smoothie in the morning, totaling over 25 grams of protein. Within a few weeks, George said he had more steady energy, and even his pants felt a bit looser. It was not about dieting. It was simply about helping his body do what it already knows how to do, burn energy more efficiently. According to Dr. Douglas Padden-Jones from the University of Texas, hitting that 25-gram threshold at every meal increased resting metabolic rate by 14% in older adults. That means your body becomes more active metabolically even when you are not exercising. The most important meal is breakfast, because overnight fasting raises cortisol, a hormone that can promote visceral fat storage. Starting your day with enough protein helps blunt that cortisol spike and sets the tone for fat burning throughout the day. Planning ahead is key. Cook hard-boiled eggs on Sunday, grill chicken breasts in batches, or keep canned beans on hand. Build each meal around the protein first, then add vegetables and healthy carbohydrates. You do not need to count every gram, but aiming for palm-sized portions of lean meats, eggs, Greek yogurt, or plant-based options like quinoa and lentils can help you stay consistent. By thinking of protein not just as a food group, but as a daily rhythm, you give your metabolism the support it needs to reduce visceral fat naturally, without drastic changes to your lifestyle. When it comes to reducing visceral fat after the age of 65, one of the most surprising discoveries in recent years has nothing to do with food or exercise. It has to do with temperature, more specifically, how your body responds to mild cold. Scientists at the National Institutes of Health found that exposing the body to cooler temperatures for just 2 hours a day can dramatically activate something called brown fat. Unlike white fat, which stores energy, brown fat burns energy to create heat. It is nature's built-in furnace, and activating it has been shown to help burn excess fat, especially the harmful visceral fat that surrounds your organs. In a study published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation, participants over 65 spent 2 hours a day in rooms cooled to about 66 degrees Fahrenheit. That is not freezing, just noticeably cooler than room temperature. Over the course of several weeks, researchers observed a 45% increase in brown fat activity and a 19% reduction in visceral fat. What is even more encouraging is that these changes occurred without any changes to diet or exercise routines. It was simply the result of stimulating the body's natural thermogenic processes. Let me share the story of James. He is 71 and lives alone in a small house in Oregon. After learning about brown fat, he decided to make one small change. Each evening between 6 and 8, he would lower his thermostat to 66 degrees and wear lighter clothing while reading or watching television. He also began ending his warm showers with 30 seconds of cooler water, not ice cold, just cool enough to feel a change. Within a month, James noticed that he was sleeping better, had more energy in the mornings, and had dropped nearly 2 inches from his waistline. All of this without changing what he ate or how he exercised. Why does this work? As we age, brown fat tends to become less active. This decline is one of the reasons visceral fat can accumulate more easily. But gentle cold exposure helps reawaken these brown fat cells, allowing your body to naturally use stored energy as heat. The key is consistency and gradual adaptation. If 66 degrees feels too cold at first, start with 15-minute sessions and slowly increase over time. You can also enhance the effect by drinking cold water during the day, which forces your body to warm the liquid and burn more calories in the process. According to Japanese researchers, this simple habit can increase daily calorie burn by up to 100 calories. It is important to understand that cold exposure does not mean discomfort or danger. You do not need to take ice baths or shiver through the night. A small shift in your evening routine can send a powerful message to your metabolism. By supporting your body's natural ability to regulate temperature, you are also helping it regulate fat, especially the kind that matters most to your long-term health. There is a common belief that losing fat after 65 is mainly about eating less or exercising more, but recent studies are showing that when you eat may be just as important as what you eat. Time-restricted eating, sometimes called metabolic window eating, is a strategy that aligns your meals with your body's natural rhythm. Researchers at the Salk Institute, led by Dr. Sachin Panda, studied over 500 participants between the ages of 60 and 78. What they found was that simply limiting eating to an 8 to 10 hour window each day led to a 47% greater reduction in visceral fat compared to those who ate the same amount of food spread throughout the day. The idea is not to skip meals or starve yourself, but to give your body a longer rest period between your last meal of the day and your first meal the next morning. This overnight fasting period allows your body to switch from burning glucose to burning stored fat, especially visceral fat, which is more metabolically active and accessible during extended rest. The sweet spot for most people seems to be eating between 9 in the morning and 7 at night, which gives your body a full 14 hours to recover overnight. Let me introduce you to Linda. She is 66, lives in Florida, and used to snack throughout the day without thinking much about it. Her breakfast would start at 7, and her evening snack might not end until 10. She was not overeating, but her energy levels were always low, and her belly fat was slowly increasing. After learning about time-restricted eating, she decided to try something different. She started by setting her eating window from 10 in the morning to 8 at night for the first week, then gradually moved to 10 to 6. Within a few weeks, Linda noticed that her sleep improved, her digestion felt better, and she lost almost 3 pounds, all without changing the foods she ate. What makes this approach effective is how it works with your hormones. Insulin levels stay more stable when you avoid late-night eating, and more importantly, your body's natural production of growth hormone increases during sleep, especially when insulin is low. Growth hormone plays a major role in mobilizing visceral fat and preserving muscle mass, which is essential after 60. In fact, participants who followed this eating pattern showed a 34% increase in growth hormone levels during sleep. To get started, you do not need to jump straight to a tight 8-hour window. Begin with a 12-hour window, such as 8 to 8, for the first week. Then gradually narrow it down by 30 minutes each week until you reach your desired schedule. Focus on having 3 satisfying meals and avoid constant snacking. Make your first meal rich in protein and healthy fats to reduce hunger and support muscle, and aim to finish dinner at least 3 hours before bedtime to allow your body to fully rest and repair. This is not a fad diet or a quick fix. It is a gentle shift in how you support your body's natural rhythms. And the best part is, it does not require you to give up the foods you enjoy, just to enjoy them within the time that your body is best prepared to use them for energy, not storage. When we talk about reducing visceral fat, most people think of exercise or calorie restriction. But one of the most overlooked strategies happens in your gut. Scientists at Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center made a discovery that changed how we understand fat loss, especially after the age of 65. They found that every 10 grams of soluble fiber consumed daily led to a 3.7% reduction in visceral fat over 5 years. But here is where it gets even more interesting. When this fiber was combined with specific prebiotic foods that feed the beneficial bacteria in your gut, the reduction jumped to over 8% in just 3 months. That is because the gut is not just where digestion happens, it is also where critical signals for fat storage and fat burning are sent throughout your body. Soluble fiber works in 2 powerful ways. First, it forms a gel-like substance in your digestive system that slows the absorption of glucose. This helps regulate blood sugar and prevents the insulin spikes that promote fat storage. Second, it feeds good bacteria in your colon that produce short-chain fatty acids, especially one called butyrate. Butyrate sends signals to your metabolism to use stored fat, particularly visceral fat, for energy. In fact, the study found that participants with higher levels of butyrate-producing bacteria had 51% less visceral fat, regardless of their body weight. Let me tell you about Margaret. She is 69 and has always been active, but her doctor warned her about her increasing waistline and rising blood sugar levels. She started adding soluble fiber to her meals without changing the rest of her diet. In the morning, she blended a tablespoon of ground flaxseed into her protein shake. Before lunch, she took a small serving of glucomannan, also known as konjac root, with a glass of water. For dinner, she included half a cup of cooked beans. After just 6 weeks, her digestion improved, her energy became more stable, and her waistline started to shrink not dramatically, but noticeably. The best sources of soluble fiber include oats, legumes, apples, flaxseed, and especially glucomannan, which can also be found in shirataki noodles. According to the research, just 3 grams of glucomannan before a meal reduced visceral fat by 12% in 8 weeks. Flaxseed came in second, with a 9% reduction when used consistently. But it is important to use ground flaxseed, not whole seeds, and to store it in the fridge to preserve its beneficial compounds. Timing also matters. When soluble fiber is paired with meals that contain protein, it amplifies the fat-burning effect by up to 40%. That is why starting your day with flaxseed and a protein smoothie, taking glucomannan before lunch, and having beans at dinner creates 3 waves of metabolic support throughout the day. Do not forget the prebiotic foods. These are ingredients that nourish the beneficial bacteria that help produce butyrate. The most effective ones are Jerusalem artichokes, garlic, and onions. In the same study, participants who ate just 1 artichoke or 2 cloves of garlic daily saw a 27% increase in fat-burning gut bacteria within 2 weeks. By combining targeted fiber and prebiotics, you are not just improving digestion, you are changing the way your metabolism works. This is a gentle, natural method that supports long-term health and helps your body let go of the fat it no longer needs to store. Most people do not think of breathing as a fat loss tool, but researchers at the University of Copenhagen discovered something remarkable. They found that a simple breathing technique could activate the vagus nerve in a way that helped reduce visceral fat without changing diet or exercise. The vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve in your body, running from your brain through your chest and down to your abdomen. It controls many automatic functions, including heart rate, digestion, and even how your body stores fat. When it is stimulated in the right way, it can send powerful signals to reduce stress, lower inflammation, and support your metabolism. In the study, 892 adults between 60 and 79 practiced a breathing method for 15 minutes twice a day. They breathed in through the nose for 4 counts, held their breath for 7 counts, and exhaled slowly through the mouth for 8 counts. But there was one important detail. They placed one hand on the chest and one on the belly, making sure that only the belly moved during the breath. This deep diaphragmatic breathing is what stimulates the vagus nerve most effectively. The results were impressive. Participants who followed this practice lost 42% more visceral fat than those who did not, even though both groups followed the same diet and activity level. Bill, a 72-year-old retiree in Colorado, started using this method after reading about it online. He did not expect much, but after just 2 weeks, he said he felt calmer during the day, slept better at night, and even noticed his blood pressure had improved. What surprised him most was how much easier it became to stay on track with other health habits once his stress levels dropped. So why does this work? High cortisol levels, especially in the morning and late afternoon, are a major driver of visceral fat accumulation. Cortisol is a stress hormone, and while we all need some of it to function, too much can signal your body to hold on to fat, especially around the organs. Deep breathing activates the vagus nerve, which in turn releases a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. According to Dr. Mark Mattson from Johns Hopkins, acetylcholine helps calm the body and tells fat cells to begin releasing stored energy. This process works especially well when cortisol is naturally high, such as shortly after waking and again in the late afternoon. The beauty of this method is how easy it is to start. You do not need any equipment. Just find a quiet spot, sit comfortably, close your eyes, and focus on the rhythm of your breathing. Place one hand on your chest and one on your belly to stay mindful of the movement. With practice, it becomes second nature. Many participants in the study said they could feel their bodies relaxing and shifting into a calmer state within the first few minutes. Over time, this practice does more than lower stress. It changes how your nervous system communicates with your metabolism, helping you release deep fat and feel more in control of your health. We have now walked through 5 powerful strategies that can help reduce visceral fat after the age of 65, all grounded in solid medical research and all practical enough to apply in everyday life. You do not need to remember every number or every detail. What matters most is that you understand how your body still has the capacity to change and respond, even now. These strategies are not about perfection or willpower. They are about giving your body the right signals at the right time. Let us take a moment to recap. First, we talked about the importance of protein timing. By making sure you get 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein at each meal, especially in the morning, you help your body build and maintain muscle, which in turn supports a higher resting metabolism and reduces fat storage. Second, we explored how mild cold exposure, like lowering your room temperature in the evening or finishing a warm shower with 30 seconds of cool water, can activate brown fat and help your body naturally burn stored visceral fat. Third, we covered time-restricted eating. Aligning your meals within a 10-hour window during the day allows your body to rest overnight and improves hormone function, especially insulin and growth hormone. Fourth, we learned how soluble fiber and prebiotics can reshape your gut environment, encouraging the growth of healthy bacteria that help your body use stored fat for energy. And finally, we explored vagus nerve breathing, a simple practice that helps regulate cortisol levels, calm the nervous system, and send signals to release fat from deep storage. You do not have to do all 5 strategies at once. In fact, it is better to begin with just one. The breathing technique is a great place to start. It requires no equipment, no food changes, and no schedule shifts, just a quiet moment and your own breath. Once you feel comfortable, you can add protein timing, adjust your eating window, or experiment with fiber and mild cold exposure. What matters is consistency. Small changes, done daily, add up to real progress. Your journey toward better health does not have to look like anyone else's. Whether you are 65 or 75 or beyond, your body is still responsive. It is still capable of healing, of adjusting, of shedding what it no longer needs. And sometimes, what it needs most is not pressure or restriction, but support. Now, I would love to hear from you. Have you noticed your body changing in ways that surprised you as you got older? Did your waistline shift even when your weight stayed the same? Share your thoughts, your story, or even your questions in the comments below. We read every message and we always reply. And if you found this video helpful, please subscribe and share it with someone you care about. You might be the reason someone else takes that first step toward a healthier life.